Hey guys, it's Elbethium back with another video for Elden Ring, and it's going to be a little discussion. Now, I did make pretty much the same sort of video back in the day for the Lies of P, and this is something that I have been talking about since Sekiro, and especially the final boss. Now, this video might make a bunch of those Get Good squad come to my videos, and before they do, I suggest you scroll down my channel, and if you've, I don't know, beaten Dead Cells hitless, then talk. If you've beat Returnal whole game, no damage, then come mouth off. And if you've beaten Cuphead, again, the entire game just with the starting weapon, I might be interested to hear, even though you shouldn't be rude to people. You should be uplifting and inspiring. But here's the thing, if your whole source of pride is you partake in these games and that's not enough for you to be having any type of basis for some sort of overinflated ego. With that out of the way. So, I'm going to be taking Radahn as a template for what I need to say. Now, he is absolutely relentless, and Miyazaki himself has said that they really pushed with this DLC what they think the player can handle. Now, obviously, the counter argument is going to be, get scadutree fragments. Yes, it does help, and it really does help. And a lot of people haven't been. There was even an article that most DLC players refuse to gather these. And to these people, I say, you kind of brought it on yourself, honestly, because scadutree fragments are a mechanic to kind of make you play the DLC, explore the DLC. If you were thinking that you're going to be using your endgame or New Game Plus, New Game Plus Plus, over-leveled OP character to the DLC and simply steamroll it, well, that's the reason why this is here in place. And it was a very, very creative way to kind of pull on the brakes for a lot of egos that were hurt, and then they don't understand why. To those people, get the scadutree fragments. But this whole discussion is a little bit more layered than just that, because there is such a thing as artificial difficulty. Difficulty that feels like a chore and not fun, because every time I've done no damage or hitless playthroughs, it was not fun. Believe me, it was not fun. I was trying to make a name for myself on YouTube when I was starting. I honestly didn't know how or what I could do that would kind of put me on the map a little bit. And because I have very different reasons from everyone else who do YouTube, I'm not trying to be rich or famous. I'm not gonna say why, is why I pretty much was compelled to do this and push myself through this. It's not fun. It's really, really not fun. Artificial difficulty, the best example, and I always keep going to this example, the Eldest Souls, and there's a boss. He's basically a big orb, and all of his attacks are AoE damage, that just spread through the orb, and you fight him in a little arena that is the size of a bottle cap. That's artificial difficulty. Can you do it? Absolutely, But why would I put myself through this? That's just annoying. What do I have to prove, And Radahn, especially in his second phase, when I say that one strike hits twice, why only twice? Make it hit 16 times, that's skill. And this is a trend that is happening across all Souls-likes, for example. Like Remnant 2, the final boss of the game had this attack where basically glitches out your entire screen for like a good second, and that's a lot. Second and a half. You don't see what's happening. You don't see what's happening. That's an equivalent of someone turning off your TV. How is that skill? You cannot say, oh, get good, skill issue to this type of stuff, because there's normal difficulty, there's artificial crap that simply isn't rewarding to put yourself through. It doesn't mean you can't do it, it's just not rewarding, it's not gratifying. And the only reason you might put yourself through is to rub it into someone else's face, because if you do come and say skill issue, that's all you care about. You don't care about fun. It's a pride thing, it's an ego thing, and quite honestly, it's pretty damn pathetic. And most people who do and mouth off about skill issues and getting good, you have nothing to show for, basically. You don't have no damage playthroughs. You don't have crazy challenges. No, for you, your metric is, I partake in these games and I enjoy them. Really? These games aren't even the hardest games out there. I challenge you, anyone who says skill issue and get good, play Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner 1. Reach the final level and tell me your death count at the end. If you don't break 1,000 deaths on just that last level, man, nah, I honestly do think, and it's, you know what it is? It's the tryhards. And I do have a little bit of responsibility in this also, because it's the tryhards that have kind of become a metric of how difficult we should make this. You know, people who kind of put crazy challenges on themselves, and then they use this as a blanket metric for almost the entire player base. Because people, you know, if they sit down, they can adjust to anything and not just break through the default of the game. They're going to be making a crazy challenge for themselves, utterly humiliating the game. And that's what it is. And I do feel like the line between Armored Core and Elden Ring, you know, it being the final game and the DLC, it got a little bit blurred out. Because how Armored Core also works, you know, it had its little elements. I'm not calling Armored Core a Souls-like god. It just had some elements, you know, like, I'm not even gonna go in there because there's always gonna be some neckbeard, actually. But the line between these two genres got blurred out a little bit, even though they still retain most of their identities, original identities, but the line has been blurred out a little bit. And you all remember, you know, Balteos, you know, especially before the that nerf and everything. It's just made in a way that, I mean, can you no damage? Absolutely. But it is extremely unlikely that it's going to happen, that out of those 50,000 rockets, especially on the beginning, one of them is not going to graze one of your hairs on your mech and just deal like 1 damage. It still counts. So I feel like they really went overboard. The bosses felt relentless. They don't stop. They really don't stop. And it just makes bosses feel boring because you don't have enough room to actually not be bored of their moves, because it's repeating on a cycle, and you're like, oh my God, I had enough of this, you know. And then the only way to have enough of it and stop it is to beat the boss, and you're like, you do it, you don't feel gratified, you don't feel fulfilled like you did in the previous games. They did nerf a few things with the DLC, and I do hope that they have learned their lesson. Honestly, do not try for the impossible. Don't. Stick to your philosophy. Stick to that default. Don't make games for the tryhards. Make games for the most of your fan base. Guys, this is Albethium. Hopefully you enjoy this. Sorry about that English sometimes. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on this, and I will be seeing you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.